Hello and welcome to my latest junk journal. This one I've gone a little bit smaller than I have before, and I've done less inking and embellishing on the actual journal itself. What I'm aiming for is something that's simple enough to teach. I've been asked to do a class, so I'm not quite there with this one, but I think the next one I should have it nailed. But if anyone has any ideas on how I can make it simple and easy for people that haven't done these before, please pop it in the comments below. So this one is covered with wrapping paper, and I've cut images from the paper, mounted them onto chipboard so that it gives it a little dimension, popped some words on with brads, Tim Holtz corners, and the back is just Tim Holtz corners and the plain wrapping paper. It was so beautiful, it didn't need anything else. The closure is a decorative brad on the front, and behind it I've popped a wee washer which gives it height so that the hair tie sits behind, and on the back is just a brad attaching it. The charm is from a necklace from a second-hand shop with little bits and bobs that I've collected along the way. So let's go through this, and I will try not to talk too fast. With my journals, I don't go out and purchase new supplies. I tend to use what I have, what I'm given, and what I pick up at op shops and recycling centres. So the inside cover is the first page out of a book that I got from an op shop with this beautiful marbling paper, and I've done the same on the inside back. The first page of the book is from an old journal, and all I've done to this is just added the word adventures. The corners throughout the journal are rounded and just lightly inked with Tim Holtz walnut stain. On the back is wrapping paper, and again wrapping paper here. Because I don't have a lot of fancy tools, I have one template which has this wonderful scalloped edge. So I draw around it and then just freehand cut it out on anywhere that I want it. So you will see this in quite a few places throughout the album. This is a cute little envelope which I've used as tuck spot and just popped in some journaling cards behind. With my journals, I prefer my writing to be hidden and just my photos and ephemera are visible, so that if I'm showing someone some photos, they don't need to share in what I'm writing as well. The back of this one is a incense box which I've cut down, and fortunately the smell has stayed with it, so the whole album has this divine smell of vanilla, which I wish you could see or smell. Wrapping paper again, which is obviously recycled, so I've just left the raw edge there. Popped a wee butterfly on the back. This is from a second-hand book that I picked up that had little divider pockets in it, so all I've done is just covered it completely in paper and popped on some fussy cutting front and back so that it gives a little bit of interest. Peter Rabbit, so very cute in a wee frame, and because I wanted it double-sided, I've just hand cut a frame on the back, another wee image there. Postcard with paperclip and charm, which is off an old necklace. It's just a wee cheapy thing, but it looks quite effective. Internet image and a wee piece of lace. An old journal that hadn't been used, decorative duct tape there to complement the image on this side. More journaling pages. On this one, I've just adhered the flap of an envelope to the page and covered it with a strip of the paper I've used on the inside cover and a rub on there, so I've got a nice wee spot there for some journaling or just some little bits and pieces I want to keep private. And on the back there is an old tape measure and a tag off a pair of work gloves. What I've done here is just use washi tape to cover any of the boring writing and just left the fun, interesting bits. An envelope I've made from an old magazine page, decorative postcard, front and back of the flap, and another wee postcard tucked in there. An envelope I've made, and again used that decorative edge which I've cut freehand, and I've put an extra strip down so that the binding doesn't intrude into the envelope, and made this little tie so that it closes quite nicely. Scrapbooking paper and hand cut scalloped edge. Reproduction paper bag cut to size, and in that is a tag again made from another incense box and washi tape down the side to cover where there was a torn away strip, and a hand cut tab at the top. So one thing I do like with the journals is to have tabs and ribbons and little bits and pieces sticking out the sides of the albums. This just got washi tape down the side to reinforce where the holes are, and it's been adhered onto a portion of a children's book. And all I've done with this is just a wee bit of washi tape and a glassine pocket with some tags. Baseball card holder. Unfortunately, when I was cutting it, I did cut too close to this edge, so it opened, so I've just closed it with washi tape. Washi tape down the edge to give me a wee bit more width to pop the bindings into. Quite often when you're in a chemist or you're given a gift, it comes in a cute little box with a wee window. This is one of those, and all I've done is covered the label with a sticker and popped some scrapbooking paper behind the window so that it gives me a wee slide place for a photo there. So that's the paper just stuck on with washi tape. Scrapbooking paper and a tuck spot. More incense box, journaling card, back of a postcard. What I wanted to do with this is I did want this tuck spot attached with a brad, but I didn't want the brad going through the postcard because I didn't want to mess this beautiful peacock. So I've just tucked the brad through the tuck spot and then adhered the whole thing onto the postcard with glue. Scrapbooking paper, and again that edge which I've cut freehand. Old paper bag which I've used as an envelope, and another piece of a gift box with a hand cut tag and washi tape there. Yet another gift box, but it was so beautiful that I couldn't not use it. Just coloured card with a hand cut tag, book image, an envelope I was sent, and it was so beautiful I just had to use it completely as it was, so I've done that and just used it as a journaling pocket. For those of you old enough to remember the 70s, you may remember these beautiful foiled gift cards that were very prevalent in that decade. Stunningly ugly, but so beautiful at the same time, so I've had to include that. On the back of that one is used wrapping paper, so you can still feel the crinkled texture, see the sellotape marks, and it's got that lived in feel. So with this you can see I've just adhered the flap of the envelope between the wrapping paper and the gift card, so it makes a fold out with a belly band and a wee tuck spot there for a advertising of some sort. A paper bag that you purchase mushrooms in at our local supermarket. All I've done with this is just folded it in half, adhered it down the bottom with washi tape, folded the corner back on the back, and again adhered that with washi tape. So I've got a pocket for a vintage writing paper on the back and a handy little bag there for holding bits. Another gift card I was given with a little bit of writing, so I've just covered that with washi tape so that I can reuse it as a journaling spot, and popped some paper clips there. Window envelope. All I've done is just covered up the writing that was on it with washi tape and a wee magazine image there. I've left it flat as an image through to the next page, which is simply an internet image. On the back of that is this divine image I got out of another second-hand book. I just love cows, so there. This is tissue paper which has been adhered with Mod Podge, and because I didn't want to cover the page or do too much with it because the paper is so gorgeous, I've just cut a silhouette which was from the internet and used it as a tuck spot, so it keeps the page sort of quite romantic and quite lovely. An envelope made again from wrapping paper, and all I've done is just back the flap with white paper to give a contrast so you can see the detail in the edge, and that's got some advertising in there that I can use for journaling. Page out of a book which I've just attached some charms off an old piece of jewellery I'm keeping. A mini envelope with some rub-ons and a little journaling spot. This one is just two paint colour chips which I've adhered together and tucked an envelope flap in between, so it gives a nice little fold out there. British Atlas. This has the most divine paper. It's quite thin and shiny and smooth and just sounds delightful, so I popped a couple of pages of that in. And this is a badge which I've cut the back off and just adhered it down so that it creates a tuck spot for an old aerogram, which again is a great journaling spot. Paint chips. I've painted the back with acrylic white paint. I have tried gesso, but I must be doing it wrong. It didn't work terribly well for me. So I've just used the acrylic paint, and I figure when I'm writing or sticking something on it, it's going to cover it up further anyway. And that is in colour to coordinate with the Minions, an old DVD cover. So I've just left that plain. I think they're quite cute. And on the inside I've had an image that I've printed from the internet, and I've cut these little guys out and backed them with yellow paper to use as journaling spots. As you might figure, I'm quite enamoured with the cute little Minions. A wee glassine pocket which extended out so that the binding doesn't intrude into the pocket itself, and just a wee piece of scrapbook and paper as a journal. Children's dictionary. Fell in love with the bird, so just had to use it, but the picture on the back wasn't quite up to scratch, so just some decorative paper. Tag from a pair of shoes, a decorative treat bag, a bookmark that I was gifted. This is the most divine piece of vellum. It's got incredible texture on it, so it's probably not a page I can use a great deal in the journal itself, but it just feels really nice. This is a page from maybe late 60s or the 70s perhaps. It was A4 and it was used in a home economics teaching class for sewing. So I've cut it down to fit, and it just shows some of the stunning outfits of the era, which are rather yummy, and some of them are strangely coming back into fashion. And on the back of that's just metric and imperial conversion. A piece of old notepaper from my old school. And the last page is the last page of a book that I picked up at the second-hand shop and seemed rather apt. So what I was thinking of doing on the back of this was just putting a library pocket and a card, just sort of as a final closure to the book. So that's that journal. As I said, I think a little complex perhaps for the class. So what I had in mind, and I would love any ideas that anyone has, is I've collected all this yumminess, which is essentially just recycled, just things I've picked up around the house and things that feel nice, sound nice, and I'd like to use those as the pages. And rather than using the bind it all, I was thinking of borrowing an idea off Thrifty Lou, thank you, for the snap rings, and she's done it using 2 and 2, which is very, very effective in tying little ribbons on the side. So I was thinking that would perhaps be easier for a class, but if anyone has any other ideas or any other comments at all, please do pop them below, and thank you very much.